Blondie, the '84 Mercedes 300 TD wagon. Going to be putting this on eBay. I haven't washed it. This is how we use it. She's dirty, but she polishes up pretty good. Show you the roof rack that I built, and got a lot of tree needles and ashes from our fireplace. We've been cooking outside this summer here in Oregon. And there's the hole where the power antenna used to be. I'm going to be covering that up with a small vinyl sticker that fairly closely matches the color of the car, but I wanted to leave the hole there just in case somebody wanted to install another power antenna. But I put a boosted antenna, which I will show you later. The van that's replacing Blondie, it's bigger and has more room, but it's lighter weight, so it'll fit on our trailer behind our bus pretty good. Let me get a different angle here. So the sun is probably going to wreak havoc with our video, but that's the quick dirty walk around. I am going to wash it today, but this is how we drive it. It's not a show car, it's a family car that gets used, and so she normally just gets washed once every 6 months or so, and towing her behind the bus normally has a little bit of soot and stuff on it, so it's not the cleanest, but she gets us where we need to go, and has for several years now. So I'm going to show you the inside real quick. I've got the carpet out of the floor because we do have some leaks. So I just leave the carpet out. We have them, but they're in storage in North Carolina. I could send them to you. With 300 and almost 340,000 miles, we are still going to drive this, so the mileage will go up until it's sold. But with almost 340,000 miles, she's not too bad for the interior. And the dash is cracked, but it's got a nice carpeted dash mat that's custom fit to this car. And here's the back seat. And again, I just keep the floor drains out. And I think it's the door seals. It's not the sunroof drains. I think it's the door seals that are leaking. I'll go around, look in the back here. We're campground hosts for the summer, so that's why we're cooking outside. I've got the tray that clips in here. We keep it out because it's easier to haul stuff back here with the added couple of inches of cargo space. These are the snow chains that we have never used. We got them when I bought some extra parts for some of the other Mercedes that I had, so I figured I'd haul them with us, but we haven't needed them. And here's the spare tire area. It's a good solid spare. Holds air very well. Stuff stashed. It has the original first aid kit. I don't think we've used anything out of it. The rear washer pump comes on, but it doesn't pump. I think that just the pump is bad. Never replaced it because we didn't need it. And there's dog footprints. I don't know how those got there. But back here I've got a bag that is full of parts for the Mercedes. Window clips, different types of fuel hose, vacuum hose. These are the shift linkage bushings. I have all of there's some new window switches. When I was working at a mechanic shop, I went ahead and ordered all this stuff so I would have it at cost. And all this is coming with the car. But there's a bunch of O-rings in here that are for the turbo, to reseal like the turbo drain and all the little O-rings for the turbo. They're all in here. There's the turbo drain O-ring right there. There's actually a couple of them. I have multiple extra parts. There's some brand new exhaust hangers. So all that comes with the car. And new fuel filter down there, primary filter. The secondary filter, I don't have a spare right now. That's the back of the car. You can see the door seals are pretty cracked. I'm pretty sure that's where the water's coming from. Haven't ever taken the time to replace the door seals. Here's the engine compartment. This hasn't been washed in about 10,000 miles, a little over a year. It's got some dust under here. It does have a new air filter. I'm getting ready to replace the battery today because it has been testing out as little on the weak side, so I'm just going to go ahead and replace that. So it will come with a new battery. And you can see here there's some oil on the engine because I redid the routing for the crankcase breather. The crankcase breather normally goes in through this hose into the intake, and then the fumes from the crankcase are pulled back through the engine. That's actually really hard on these engines because of the oil that's in that air coming through the crankcase breather clogs up your intake and causes your intake to carbon up. So I just vented it through a little cone type air filter here, and then run it through this hose and then allow it to drip into this can. It's very easy to convert it back to the factory setup. You just change this piece of pipe here, replace it back with the plastic tube, which again I have in storage in North Carolina. I don't think I brought it with me, but you could just put a little piece of pipe in there to connect it back, and you would still have the factory crankcase set up. The belts are all good. They're less than 2 years old, and I keep them tight. So I have rebuilt the hydraulic pump, which is right here for the rear suspension. It was leaking oil into the crankcase oil, so I rebuilt that when we were in Arizona this past February, I think. And the oil for the hydraulic fill is here. It has a tendency to run all the way at the minimum level on the dipstick. So if you fill it up to where it says it's supposed to be at max, a couple days later you won't have any oil in there. Its happy place is at the minimum there, so that's just where I let it run. But I keep an eye on it so it doesn't run dry. Everything under the hood is really good shape. So we're going to do a cold start video so you can see I replaced the hood pad back when I worked at the mechanic shop, so it's got a brand new hood pad. Here's a cold start veggie, 50% veggie, 50% roughly diesel fuel. You see the oil pressure flies right up there. See the engine's cold. And while we're in here, the air conditioner and everything works. I always leave it on automatic. If you put it on high, the fan pulls too much for that fuse, so you'll melt your fuse if you try to run the AC on high. Medium. But if you flip it on high, high does work. You just can't leave it there more than 2 or 3 minutes at a time or you will melt the fuse. So we just run it on medium. It gets the car plenty cold. So the AC does work good.
Parent, you even say before you...
These are the factory speakers. I haven't replaced any of the speakers, so they do have a little bit of a rattle to them, but they work just fine. It's got a iPod MP3 player in here, and there's also one in the glove box, so you can leave one permanently plugged in. There's the case for the faceplate removal in the stereo, and you can see here some of the cracks in the dash. There's the hole that I came through the dash since we had the mat and installed the powered antenna up there. That's the cap bounce that you can tell how much blow-by they've got, and it pretty much sits still. It doesn't try to blow off of there. So the engine is about as smooth as you'll get with this many miles. The turbo runs great. And a little bit of rattling you hear is usually this, the bolt flopping. You can see we've run it a long way that way because it's got a place worn in the paint just where that hose bounces around, but I wanted to keep it so it could be switched back to the factory setup if you wanted to. Okay, this is Blondie after a bath. I had to give her a bath. Couldn't send her away looking raggy. There's our van that replaced her. We still hate to get rid of Blondie. She's been an excellent car, served us well. Here's the engine compartment after I pressure washed it off just to get some of the road grime and a little bit of the oil off that comes from the crankcase breather setup that I have. The paint job on the car is pretty good. Still, it's got some scuffs and scratches, and the wheels will clean up nicer than that. That's just all I could do with the pressure washer, but they will polish up pretty nice. And there's a couple of sap spots and stuff that I didn't scrub off, and it's got some more stuff on it from sitting under the trees overnight. And I put in the new battery yesterday, and again she's running on a roughly 50% blend of diesel and vegetable, and it's about 50 degrees this morning, so I cycle the glow plugs twice. Fire's right up, happy as a clam. Oil pressure climbs right up. Stereo kicks in. So I'll walk out here. You can see she's cold this morning. It smooths out nicely as soon as it warms up just a little. This car has almost no blow-by. You set the cap on there and it doesn't dance around. I smell the veggie oil this morning. So that's it. You'll have a fresh oil change, and we will still be driving the car while we're here in Oregon sporadically, but won't really put more than a couple hundred miles on it.